Hey there, everybody. Always good to be with you here on the channel. And I'm taping this early Friday morning, the 30th of January. Uh, uh, Man, oh man. What was that about yesterday, really, with Tulsi Gabbard? Haven't seen a peep, heard a word, heard a peep, seen her, nothing for months on end now. And suddenly she shows up in Fulton County to be a part of this thing where apparently they took away, last I heard, 700 boxes of ballots and information from the 2020 election. Very important, not even 2024 if they were really after some recent info. But this was an FBI operation, right? So like, why Tulsi? Why not Keystone Cash? That there's a lot going on with that you all. I wanna take a look at that for sure. We know many of us have already put, many people put two and two together and seen, all right, this is clearly the start of something to work toward interference, in potential interference for entertainment purposes only, right? Gotta, right? That's what it is. But the 2026 elections, being able to challenge the ballots, they know they're about to get whopped. They absolutely know they're about to get whopped. So, meaning the GOP, they know they're about to get whopped. So, I'm gonna take a look at that. Also, Chuck Schumer. Chuck, pardon me, it's a Friday. I'm gonna be a little grown. Chuck M. Effin Schumer, like, right there at the goalpost, right? Everybody's in line, even Republicans coming in and saying we will support this, if it means shutting down or a partial shutdown of the government because of everything that's going on with the DHS and specifically ICE, and and Border Patrol, but all of it. So we got this on lock. We are ready to stand together, lock arms, and shut it down. Just shut it down. And lo and behold, old Chuck jumps up again, says, well, let's just sit down and talk about some amendments and some ways that this can work together for everybody. So we'll just wait for 2 weeks. We're going to take a look at that. Like, ugh, ugh. He's, ugh. All right. Last thing I want to look at, and so that we can end it on a more positive note today, is many of you have reached out to me around just taking a look at. I'm not even sure what you want me to ask. Nobody's saying that. Everybody's just like, look at the Monks for Peace. Talk to us about the Monks for Peace of Pepe. So that's we will take a look at them. We know that they're closing in on their journey, supposed to get to DC right now. Estimates are around, I saw, like, I wrote it down, February, somewhere between February 10th and the 13th. Is they're in Virginia now. They've made it to Virginia, and they're expected to get to DC around that time. So I'm not sure what we're going to see. I guess we're looking at the impact of that or whatever. But so many of you have asked me to take a look. I am going to do so today. All right, you all. So let's get ready to go in. By the way, if you don't know who I am, I'm a Fefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. I'm a former journalist and a priestess, and I do mostly political readings. I do some astrology, some full moon and new moon readings as well. But glad to have you here. Stick around. I hope you like what you see. Hit that like and subscribe button. My folk been out there hyping the videos. Mwah. I truly, truly appreciate that. I'm working hard, trying to give some good content here, ethical content, reliable content. I'm not so much about trying to make hard and fast predictions, because we've seen how the energies can fluctuate. And at the end of the day, I'm not in charge of destiny with these cards in my hand, nor any of us. This is fluid. This is ultimately in the hands of energies and forces, and in my opinion, always light, always, the creation of all, the source of all, in the sense of goodness and the betterment for people. So that's whose hands it's in. I'm sitting here looking at insights, likelihoods, the way energies are going, right? Checking in with one another so that we can continue to use this as a community. All right. Tulsi Gabbard. Lord have mercy. Spirit, why is she being called in, and what is their long-term plan? What's the thing here? What's going on with them taking that information, that voter data? Why was Tulsi Gabbard called in? We have the five of wands at the bottom of the deck, and in this deck, I'm using today the Tarot of the Spirit, an old classic. But struggle, you see that? Struggle. Because, number one, there's conflict within the cabinet right now. We know it. We see it playing out because Keystone Cash, can you imagine? Had he been the one to show up as the face of this operation, like people were going to just be like, for what? Like he's already lost so much credibility because Tulsi has been in the background for a while. I think she was sent in because of this conflict. And Spirit is giving me my yes. If you read with me, you know how I am about aces. And I got the Ace of Pentacles. So to the question of why Tulsi, basically Tulsi because it couldn't have been Keystone Cash. Couldn't have been him. Spirit, what is the basic motivation here? Why did they take that information? Is it so that they could do more? The Emperor, all right, so they were directed to do so by Trump, clearly. And because of his obsession still with the 2020 elections, right? Won't stop talking about it ever. The King of Pentacles. And death. Huh. All right. So they did it because clearly it was Trump's directive. The King of Pentacles, I'm almost getting, this is someone within state government in Georgia, but it goes further than that. It was signaling, essentially. It was signaling to the other states. Remember, pentacles are about what you have. It is the voter data. It is what's in those boxes. It is the ballots themselves, right? It's tangible things. This was signaling, I will come and get your stuff, not just in Georgia, but long-term death, transformation, Scorpio, deep, a rebirthing of his ability in his mind to take control, complete and absolute control over the election process. Now, why 2020? Spirit, is it because they had, was it because they felt they had, because of the lawsuit and the election interference case, that's why they were able to go for 2020. The Five of Pentacles, no, I'm missing something there. I'm honest. Why 2020? Three of Pentacles. And the Eight of Wands. Oh, wow. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, they're working on the communication around those files, you all, around what they gathered. Don't be surprised if they come out with some interesting data based on what they say they found, right? Don't be surprised. In other words, if the argument from the Emperor, Trump, has always been that, there was something going on with the election specifically in Fulton County, a majority blue county. So now they want to cast aspersions on it going into the 2026 midterms, right? Want to turn that county if possible. So Five of Earth is saying there's a struggle. There's going to be a struggle there to prove that they found something, but don't be surprised if they haul off and say that they did. Three of Earth, they're working on it, and the Eight of Wands, communication and spinning stuff out. Sometimes fast communications in an Eight of Wands energy, as many of you know. So spitting stuff out like we've seen them do typically. No basis in reality, no basis in fact, but this is what we found. Just enough to cast seeds of doubt on the legitimacy of elections. Spirit, will this go farther than Georgia? Are they going to go and start just walking in other states? King of Swords, that's him in another capacity. Sometimes I pull him, he's a Gemini, as you know, from. So sometimes I pull him as the Emperor, but sometimes I pull him as the King of Swords. This could be someone else as well. Someone else in his cabinet. I don't even want to talk about Miller. But Miller's more about he's sticking with the taking the immigration issue. And the hangman to cause doubt. You all, we already see it coming. In the midterms, they're going to start demanding to see ballots, examine ballots, refute that Eight of Wands. What we see is not what we see. What happened is not what happened. And making allegations totally without any backing or any proof. That Five of Pentacles, no proof, nothing really there. A lack of proof. But they're still going to go for it. They're going to play that hand. The hangman, they're going to play that hand. They're go for so notice has been given. What are states going to be prepared to do? And this candle I've got to Oshun, like you see that wick just going, and there's all kinds of smoke going up. That's not negative. Don't be afraid. It's just energy. It's saying this is really energy to show. Look at the signs. Don't wait until it's happened to then try and go, clean up on aisle 10. All the pickle jars are in the aisle stinking up the place. Don't wait until that point. Know that this is the game plan. They're showing their hand. They're showing 150% what they're planning to do. So therefore, what are the measures that can be taken against it? And I think that's going to be a real challenge for the DNC, for state and local election officials. But will they toe the line? I'm being led to go ahead and ask it. Will they toe the line? Will they fight back and resist? And if there are recounts that have to be done, if there's continued resistance to release, as we know, Pam Bondi in Minnesota to the mayor of Minneapolis said, hey, just give us the voter data and we'll pull the troops out, just give us what we want. And he was like, no, why? Right? Spirit, will there be a successful resistance to this? The Star. Bam, boom. And I'm not going to ignore it. I'm being the Eight of Pentacles. So people see it coming. That's the work. The ones who know data, know how to handle data, know how to account for data, know how to, there's something here that I'm getting where there's a possibility even of some sort of scans or something where even should they come and take the physical data, there's other data there to back it up. There's sufficient resistance there, you all. This will not. It can delay that hangman that we got before. It can delay, but it will not stop the actual results of the midterm elections. Won't stop it. All right. Moving on. Chuck Schumer. So 2 more weeks, apparently, of trying to figure out what to do about DHS funding. And then what, right? And then what at the end of those 2 weeks? Spirit. Are the Dems ultimately, Senate Dems in particular, with Chuck Schumer's leadership, are they going to reach a deal to continue to fund ICE and DHS? Are they going to reach a deal to continue to fund them, to keep it open? Are they going to reach a deal? Are they going to agree to whatever amendments, body cams, and don't wear the masks? Okay, what? Based on the honor system? Like, we're trusting you to do that? 9 of Pentacles. This is the funding that's at stake. The funding for DHS. All right, that's what we're looking at. 9 of Pentacles. The 10 of Swords. The resistance to fund them, and this resistance reaching a crescendo, a crisis point, an inflection point. They call her sister, but Sister of Swords. This is like a Knight of Swords energy in a typical deck, but who is that? What is that? This is the negotiations. And this is somebody, this feels like somebody in the Senate who comes up with swords information, who's helping to draft these amendments, will they ultimately, and their strength, they're going to fund DHS, you all. Will it include these amendments so that Schumer et al. Can say the high priestess? Wow. Wow. Yes and no. They're going to include some language. The GOP knows that they've got to give Schumer just enough, and his contingent. They got to give them just enough to get this over the finish line, to get the funding for DHS over the finish line. But the high priestess comes to say there will be parts of that deal that may not be known won't come out until after the Dems have signed off on it. Remember, some things like that happened around the last government shutdown, right? Around healthcare, around certain other reforms where it came out after the fact. Oh, we didn't read it all. We didn't realize that all of this wording was in there. That's what I'm getting from this high priestess energy. And the hermit comes, didn't pay attention to the details, period. So once again, thanks to Schumer, when they should have, and public sentiment across the board was saying, all these calls to congressional leaders from around the country saying, don't do it. Don't do it. Shut it down. Shut it down. And here he goes moving forward. Miss the details. The high priestess and the hermit, there's something that the GOP is going to be able to put through in that DHS funding, and they're going to claim afterwards, Schumer, whomever else who votes for it, is going to claim, oh my God, we didn't see that. We missed that. And there's the Knight of Wands. That's going to be somebody coming out. I don't know if this is Jasmine Crockett. There's somebody coming out behind that saying, how did you miss this? You should have just kept it shut down while you could. And the Five of Swords. Exactly. There's going to be a lot of scrambling, messaging, and a lot of further damage to certainly Chuck Schumer's so-called leadership. But I'm also getting that this then impacts what happens in the House, especially with that Five of Swords coming. Because remember, whatever happens in the Senate, then it's got to go back to the House. And, that's what we're going to get a lot of crap coming out of the House behind this, because there are going to be elements of what the Senate has approved that they are then going to go, oops, in so many words. Oops, we didn't realize it. And it's going to get brought out by somebody in the House who's like, wait. Did you not see this part? Because again, the whole, you're not supposed to wear masks. You're supposed to wear body cap. We're talking about people who, by all accounts, we've been told, are not equipped, are not adequately trained, are not mentally, in a space to really be in the positions that they're being put in. They're grabbing people off the streets. Did you all hear the story of the Border Patrol official agent in Minnesota, I think outside of Minneapolis, who was caught 3:30 in the morning with regurgitation, I'll call it that. I don't want to gross you all out, like all over him. And when the state trooper who pulled him over 3:30 in the morning, rolled the window down, like the reeked of alcohol. And this guy, he's a Border Patrol official, agent, apparently sent from Texas to Minneapolis, based on the name Alfredo Marsalis Jr., 31 years old, Latino, perhaps, right? So this a lot of Spirit's bringing me that to share with you, because remember, there's a lot of people involved in this who have essentially been pushed into this, because if you don't do this, we will deport your family. We're going to come after your kids. We're going to come after your family. So they signed up for this, but this is eating and tearing them up. One side. What makes you get so drunk that you pass out in a state federal vehicle with gunk all over your body, right? I'll leave it there. All right, last thing I said I got a spray after that one. I said I was going to end with the Monks Walk for Peace because so many of you have been asking about it. Let's just check on them. We know, unfortunately, I think one of them, I forget his name, who has not been feeling well. They're giving him IVs and etc. So I think there were, from what I saw, there were 19 of them initially. They're down to 18, although I think he's still traveling with them, but maybe in the van or the camper or whatever, while he continues to get treatment. Interestingly, I saw some. Oh, that smells so good. It's got honeysuckle and Florida water and sweetness in it. One way to counter, just as an aside, one way to counter ick is go sweet, right? Sometimes people just immediately go to the harsh stuff, the ammonia and the vinegar, and not to mention vinegar. We know about Omar, but that salt, the black salt, and get the goods. When we're doing protective work, you'd be surprised what a little sweetness will do to darkness. You'd be surprised, or I shouldn't even just say darkness, but when it gets ick, when it gets ick, send a little sweetness to it. All right, so what's that trying to come? The Nine of Pentacles comes right out. I feel like that was in regards to what I was sharing with you all. Like use your tangible things, earthy things, flowery essences and things to lift the vibrations on your body and in your home, in your spaces. All right, Spirit, the monks who are walking for peace. What would you like to share? What do people need to know about that? Will they arrive in DC? Okay. There had been a lot of concerns for their safety as they have traveled. And while all of this other stuff is going on, many of you have been saying your prayers around them. There's the Knight of Wands that comes up. This is the spirit of them moving forward purposefully. Fire is very spiritual and unstoppable. And I also get, this is an artistic deck, but if you can see, he's sort of sitting on that horse. Remember, we are heading into the start of the year of the fire horse right around the time that they are, that's February 17th, solar eclipse day as well. But that's right around the time that they are scheduled to conclude their march for peace in DC. Nothing will stop them. The universe, nothing will stop them. Absolutely nothing will stop them. And this is divinely, certainly divinely inspired. Now, they're saying part of their mission, of course, is to get Congress to vote to approve a federal holiday for Buddha's birthday. I'm not so sure about that. Two of Swords. Yeah, there's that's kind of literally up in the air as to whether or not Congress would take that up, especially now with everything going on. But the Eight of Pentacles, and they call it a mountain there. That's a lot of work. Their effort, just the sheer effort. They've been marching now 2,300 miles total from Texas to DC, and they've been at it since October. Brutal weather, everything that they've encountered. So that's this Eight of Pentacles. It's the momentum that they've built up in their mission. The Nine of Swords. There's something here, and I don't like the way this feels, but I got to be honest with you all. There's something here where it almost feels like I'm hearing the term all for naught, but not really. Don't freak out. Not really all for naught. The impact, certainly, that it has had on people. We've seen people lining the roads. We've seen how, we all love, what's the dog's name, Okoye? We love, collectively collectively humanity across the world loves what we are witnessing. I think the Nine of Swords is just pointing to, does this ultimately change something? Does this change anything in the way that government is behaving when they get to DC? Buddha's birthday, federal holiday. Six of Cups. It harkens back to movements in the past where nonviolent resistance, peaceful resistance has been successful. And I think that's one reason why so many people across the world, and certainly along the trail where they've been going, have been so responsive to this, and supportive, and deeply moved. People say when they see them, they're just it's a visceral reaction. And the Three of Wands, birth of light, they call it in here, and the Ten of Wands, they are very tired. Continue to send them your prayers. And the Seven of Wands, but courageous. They will not be stopped. They will see it through. There may be another one of them that has to take a break, but almost maybe not. It's almost as if there's something now inspiring them to the point where if we've gone this far, I don't care what, I will make it into DC. And there's the Hangman, enlightenment. They've done this. The Hangman is an energy of sacrifice. And so certainly they have sacrificed their bodies. They have sacrificed. Can you imagine the toll that this has taken just on physically on their bodies? But it's a sacrifice that they are willing to make for enlightenment. And then the Eight of Cups. They themselves, I'm getting, are not attached to the ultimate outcome. For them, this has been truly about the moment of sacrifice, the commitment and the discipline to the mission, to what they set out to do, and to seeing it come to completion. They understand, especially in an Eight of Cups energy, they understand that they don't have any control over whether or not the Buddha's birthday becomes law, or it's some sort of finite ending to this or result from this, but it has nothing to do with why they did it, why they will complete it. And I'm getting on some level the lasting, it's almost like it leaves a psychic imprint on collectively on people. Like people will never forget this moment in history, and probably there will be documentaries, I'm hearing, or something more that comes from this. We know there have been people following them along the path, so there's more to come from this, but it just doesn't feel like it changes something within our structure, within our government structure. It is much more about a spiritual ingest. I just heard ingestation. I don't even think that's a word, but ingesting what they have offered to us collectively, spiritually, ingesting and absorbing and appreciating the sacrifice, that Hangman energy, the sacrifice that they have made literally with their energy, with their bodies, with their time, with their devotion. And recognizing, hey, if they can do this, so can we. That's what I'm getting, you all. Whew, that was a lot, but I hope it was helpful. And I will see you back here on Monday. And I wish you the best. Stay strong. Stay focused. Sky above you, right? As above, so below. Sky above you, earth beneath you, and soul within you at all times. Keep your chin up and your shoulders back, combining everything that I used to even say last year. Like it all works together. It all works together. All right. I'll talk to you real soon. I appreciate you. Please remember to hit that like, and every time you hit the like, it helps the algorithm, and the hype if you can, and certainly subscribe. I thank you so very much. Check out my classes that I have on my website coming up. A few things, but I'll get more into that next week. I've got 3 things coming up. I've got a Practical Magic Using Tarot Part 2 coming up on February 15th. I've got a Divination workshop coming up with Susan Lynn on February 21st. Definitely going to talk to you more about that. And I will put a link to that in the description box below, because it is open now if you want to go ahead and get registered for that. And then on the 25th, on the 28th, so these are 3 Saturdays back to back, I'm going to do a workshop on the movie Sinners and some of the spiritual implications and real-time implications of that movie for us. So lots going on, staying busy, because I love doing this work, and I love being with you all, and I love the community, what we're building here. All right, enough of that. I'm going to shut it up. I'll talk to you real soon. Have a good weekend. Bye.